One thing I thought was kind of funny is people can't use this, but you don't speak Arabic criticism. And
I don't
what do you
speak
think
Arabic.
about this argument? What do you think about this? Oh, you don't speak Arabic. How can you know Islam's false?
Oh, um, okay. That argument I've heard the most, ironically, from people who don't speak Arabic. Um, so it's the pot calling the kettle black. And I mean,
That's so true, actually.
it's 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 puzzling to me. Like I take a second and I'm like, did you just really say that to someone? Like, who's talking? But that's another thing that I want to talk about later in this podcast. Is yes, they have a point, but it works against them too. Is you don't know the real words in Arabic. How can you have such confidence that your translation from, say, I don't know, can I name websites here, or is this like Yaqeen Institute, for example? The fact that you take this article and not like my or someone else's literal translation of the tafsir, that's just like, yeah. I'm out of words for that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
honestly, I think it's unless you're criticizing the Arabic itself, then you need to know Arabic. But if you're just making an argument about the content of the religion, you don't need to know Arabic to know Muhammad killed all the boys of Banu Qurayza that were,
Mhm.
had pubic hair. I need to know Arabic for that? Like, what is Arabic involved in? Like, there is a point in knowing the original meanings of the words, but it's not quite accessible for most people. And people convert to Islam without knowing Arabic.
Mhm.
People read the Quran in English. Famous converts, Cat Stevens, read the Quran in English. Even unfortunately, one of the top guys in ISIS, John Georgalis, he was given the Quran by his mom. He read it in English, obviously, and then he converted to Islam. He didn't know Arabic. I mean, like most converts in America don't know Arabic, like Christian converts. They go to the mosque. Sometimes there's marriage of convenience, which is, you want to marry a Muslim woman, and you're like not Muslim, so you have to convert to Islam, and then you become Muslim. They don't know Arabic. Like nobody knows. Pretty much nobody knows. How
Yeah.
many converts to Islam know Arabic? I'm wondering. Probably like a very, very small number, because
Mhm.
what I've seen is that Arabic speakers, non-Muslims, are some of the most antagonistic against Islam than anyone else. Like Christian Arabs, like Christian Prince, they like despise Islam more than like white non-Muslims, right? And what's the reason for that? I think they understand it, and they have access to a lot more literature where non-Muslims are called donkeys openly, and like they see the sheikh speaking like because you find like just like for example AJ Plus in English and
Mhm.
Al Jazeera in Arabic, it's totally different,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like one is progressive, like lefty, liberal sort of, and the other one is like it's
I,
totally
I,
different,
I
right?
literally used to mistake their videos for BuzzFeed. Like that's how far, like this. Yeah. No, you make a really good point. Like that's
Yeah.
not at all to say that people who don't speak Arabic can't know Islam. Again, you take the trusted tafsirs and like you can understand English. Like the meaning is still there. I think that's a very bad cop out to say, the beauty of the Quran, you have to understand it in Arabic. Well, in that case, it's not really a miracle, is it? Like
No,
there's a
it
lot
does.
of, yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Like don't like how like what 5% of the population of the earth speaks Arabic? Like
I don't remember the percentages, but I know more Muslims don't speak Arabic than ones that do. Um,
mm,
and again, it's a point against Islam that God should have released Islam or revealed Islam in many languages or something that everyone can understand. So yeah, again, suspiciously giving a monopoly to Arabs, and or
no,
whoever that tribe was.
it would have helped, and it would have helped even more so because of the fact that ancient Arabic didn't have dots.
Yeah.
Like there's no vowels. Never mind the vowels. Fata kasra dama. There wasn't even the dots on the noon and the ta and the ya, like when they were writing it, and eventually they added it, of course, because they needed it. But the language choice is a very poor choice for the final revelation. And as we know, the Quran is primarily an oral recitation, and as we know, there are multiple variant readings of the Quran, and there are actually different words in some of the variants. The phrases are in different order, and some of the differences even ended up changing the fiqh or the ruling of Islam. For example, there's one ayah in the Quran, one verse in the Quran that speaks about when you do the wudu, and based on the different variant readings, Shias believe that wiping versus now, I don't know the exact details, but like one of them accepts that you can wipe, the other one accepts that you have to actually wash the feet, I think. Washing versus wiping or something like that. So the difference is significant enough that it changes the meaning of the verse, right? So it's
no better example than that. Like now that you mentioned that, there's differences between the word kill and fight. Like there's a word qatil and qatal, أو اقتلوا. There's like a difference of one letter that could mean either fight the disbelievers, that could be intellectually, physically, whatever, and kill them. There's a huge difference there. But that's not something I was aware of till like a year ago. Again, these things are not taught. I've seen a mushaf or like an old manuscript with no tashkil and no dots or anything. And I asked my mother about it as a child, and she was like, "Oh, well, that's how they wrote," and they all knew what it meant. But then I had no idea how that branched out in so many mushafs and whatnot. Yeah.
You saw one without the dots? Where did you see this?
Cannot recall, like it was either on the internet or something, and it wasn't because I was looking for it.
Oh, it's online. Okay, yeah. Got it. Yeah. Okay, yeah, because right now there's none that exists right now with no dots in them.
Oh,
That was
not a recent copy, no.
Yes, exactly. Not a recent copy because now it's been standardized, and there's a Cairo edition, and obviously there's that issue now, and Muslims sometimes they don't realize that, like, one of the funniest comeback is, yeah, but the Quran's memorized by millions of people, but the Quran that you memorized is obviously the one that's already been corrupted, so to speak, as one of the variants. So it's like, how does that help? Because we know there's variant readings from the Sana manuscript. We know that there's other codexes that we found that have like big differences. So obviously, just before this whole thing happened with Uthman, there was a lot of change going on, and this change stabilized at some point. And what we have today is a stabilized edition, but there's still problems, right? Like the problems haven't gone away, so.
No, that is something that is being more explored now with scholars, and like I'm not talking about Muslim scholars because they don't like to reveal that information, as we've all heard recently. But I'm very happy that these things are coming to light because, again, I as a Muslim had no clue. Like now I remember as I'm telling you these things. One time I was a kid and I picked up a mushaf in the masjid to read before I start prayer. Because again, I was enthusiastic. I was there early. I prayed the sunnah and I sat down, and I realized, oh, that looks a little different. It was a different cover color, and then inside the letters were different. I think I'm not too informed about this, but I think it was like Urdu speakers who were reading from it.
Oh, you're talking about the script? Yeah. The Urdu script. Yeah.
And I was told, oh, that's just they pronounce things differently. But again, for a second in my head, I was like, wait, are you allowed to write a Quran in a different way like that? But then it's not something that you think about. So
Yeah.
they're not aware.
I had a hard time with those Qurans as well because I learned it on my own in the Uthmani script or whatever, and the Pakistani sort of Urdu script was a little bit hard for me to read as well. But there's also Qurans that have like the variants, like the Warsh.
Oh yeah. No,
those have even like bigger differences, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. What was funny is I have a mushaf right next to me here, and I had picked up just out of curiosity an Arabic tafsir mushaf and an English tafsir mushaf and an English, just pure English mushaf. I haven't yet compared them too closely, but I found some funny things in like the beginning of it, like before the Quran starts. There's some notes from the issuing department of, this one's from Saudi Arabia, and then it says, it's been prepared by a group of scholars. Like, who is that? I don't know what that group is. It just says group of scholars, and it makes me really think, like, who's writing this stuff for us? Like, who's verifying it? But yeah, you're right. There is like the most popular one is the Cairo edition now, and you're right. That's why people memorize all the same one, because that's the one that exists today.
The edition, I think the edition you're talking about, the group, that's Sahih International, right?
I think so, yeah.
That's the one that I was recommended to read, and The funny thing is, I don't know, I could be wrong about this, so don't quote me, but I remember hearing that one of the people on the team was a woman, and maybe that's why they didn't mention the name.